All right, Madison, I wanted to give you another update on Lilo, show you how she's doing, give you kind of the latest and greatest on your pup and how she's hanging out. I think Elizabeth probably mentioned to you sort of the strategy of what we're working on with Lilo is in order to get her to do what we call off-leash obedience, to get her to respond to us at a distance. The real trick for her, like I talked about last time, is the follow-through. Here, heel, sit, good. And so the trick for this is we need to get her to understand that it's not just the leash, it is us that she needs to respond to. And so in order to do that, we have been working through conditioning her with the remote e-collar. Now, Lilo is in the middle of this process, and at the moment, she's not a big fan. And so you're going to see her body language today is going to be very clearly, she's not excited about it. She does it, and she works with me, and she'll be okay, but you're going to see the tail down. You're going to see her a little bit nervous. You'll see some moments where she'll be kind of happy and peppy, but in general, you can tell that she's not a huge fan of this at the moment. Now, the e-collar that we're using is extremely low stimulation, and really 99% of what we do for her response is to use simply the tone. The sound. And so we've been working for 10, 12 days now on conditioning her to the sound that the collar produces, and then we need her to respond when she hears that sound. And so this has applications all over the board, whether you're talking about obedience or whether you're talking about a perimeter fence. Having a dog that understands that the collar is going to respond to them based on what they do is a huge idea. So anyway, I wanted to show you a little bit about how she's working. First off, you can kind of see, how she responded to me here at the beginning. One of the things that you'll notice that right now, she is leaning on me. She is leaning hard up against my left leg. In fact, she's pushing against me, right? This is part of her ongoing sort of a little bit of challenging me, a little bit of expressing her discomfort by leaning on me. In fact, if I step over a little bit, you'll see her she has to catch herself. Good. Now, you'll notice that she gets right back on top of me when we're doing this. Part of it is about challenging me, and part of this is about her discomfort. She's nervous, right? And so this is one of the ways that we are reading her to tell what she is feeling. And she makes it pretty obvious to me. So she's not hard to figure out. The good news is I feel like we've gotten over the big hump. The big hump of understanding the major problem with Lilo is come here when I tell you to come here. Because Lilo is super independent and wants to go off and do her own thing. But when we need her to be obedient and to come here, because if she's right here, we can control her. And ultimately, if you can get her to come here, you can always put her on a leash or grab her collar and she will respond to you very, very well. The trick is you gotta make sure she'll come to you when you call her. So I wanted to show you how we're working on that. Okay, and so what I'm gonna do today is I'm holding the transmitter here that I'm using, and the whole purpose of the remote collar is to teach the dog that this is exactly the same as their leash, except it has a 1 mile range and it never gets tangled. That's all it does. It's the same thing as a leash, only it's just much more flexible, okay? We don't want to use this as a means of punishing the dog. We don't want to use it to hurt the dog. We simply want to use it to condition her in the same way that we would use a leash to pull to make her go somewhere. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to use the tone, and you'll see when the tone goes off, you'll see her respond to me immediately. And then the first few times when I say the word here, I'm going to apply the low stimulation, which will apply a little flick on her neck that she can feel. Not enough that she should yelp, not enough that she should feel any pain, but enough that she can feel as if it is mimicking the tug of a leash that is attached to her collar. That's the point. Right now, we'll also do some work with heel, and we'll do some work with sit. Pretty much the similar routine that we saw in our last video, only now we're not connected to a rope. And now she has the choice to take off and go do her own thing, or she can sit here. And right now you can see how well she is minding me, doing very, very well. So I'm quite happy, again, with how she's doing here. She generally will sit here beside me all day long. She knows that when she is near me, everything is okay and everything is good. We never, ever want to do anything other than reinforce that this spot at my left side, sitting here, is always the good place for her to be. Because if she's right here, then we can do anything else. So, you're a good dog. Okay, all right. Come on, Lilo, heel. Good girl. Heel, nope, nope. Good. Turn. Turn. Here. Sit. Very nice. Very nice. Heel. And sit. Oh, heel, right here. Watch right here. Sit. Very good. And she's wanting to kind of creep around to get in front of me. That is very normal. Again, that's signs of her being submissive and saying, is this okay? Is this okay? You know, kind of burying herself at my feet. But the bottom line is she has responded to this training very, very well. Now, I wanted to let you know that the first day we did this, it did not go well at all. In fact, I put the collar on her and she absolutely bolted. I mean, like, whew, gone, and wanted nothing to do with it. And so that was a bad day, and we had to reinforce that that has very negative consequences when the dog bolts. We don't want her to ever think that anything good happens from just taking off. So she had kind of a bad day, and she was a little bit sour the next day, but we've really come back stronger to say she understands, okay, if I'm right here, if I'm beside you, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to, then everything is okay. And that's more about that follow-through idea, that if she is doing what we want and we make sure that she understands she has to do it, then everything goes well. So I'm very happy with her. Let me show you a couple more steps. Lilo, here. Heel, sit. Very good. Heel, here. Heel, sit. Good dog. Good. Heel. Now, I'm not doing any of the kind of more advanced little tricks that you were doing with her, like saying the word D-O-W-N. I'm not doing that as a part of this routine, simply for the sake of simplicity. I'm trying to not confuse her. So all I'm using is here, heel, and sit. She is obviously plenty capable of then differentiating to understand, lay down, spin, do all the things that you want to do with her, and reinforce. Now, you could absolutely do this, and in fact, I have often done this, reinforcing these positively by using treats, especially, you know, her kryptonite is little pieces of pepperoni. She'll do anything for pepperoni. But by and large, she has come a long way. I feel really good about where she is. I feel like we're not quite there yet, but she's obviously, this is a dog who is much more under control, especially when she has that collar on, because she understands we're going to follow through. Lilo, here. Heel, sit. So there I'm pressing the button for sit. You'll notice that she doesn't even, there's certainly no howl, no crying, nothing like that. These are very low stimulations. Heel, heel. Lilo, here, heel, sit. Good girl. And here she's laying down on the sit. She was trying to, and that's okay. I'm fine with her wanting to lay down. Good girl. I just want her at this spot right here. So, by and large, here, don't lay down on her that way. There you go. Good. Good girl. We give lots of praise, and that seems to help. So, she's making good progress. I feel like we got a little more ways to go, but by and large, we're definitely getting there. Good girl.